All right, so new movie, Senna by Netflix. What's going on, everybody? Yes, big shout out to everybody. Big shout out. Good afternoon, Mary Beanie. Big shout out to everybody that took part. Well, you all took part if you were a viewer and a subscriber here and you do super chats. Big shout out to all the winners of the prizes. Those will be getting sent out, waiting for the shirts to come in. I probably will send the people who just won hats out since the hats are already here, so you don't have to wait. Big grand prize number 2 and 1 will have to wait for those shirts, but they will get out. But let's talk about this Senna movie. I am a car person. Big shout out to Delta Zero Productions. We will be doing a racing series with them, esports racing series with them coming up soon. But listen, I'm a big car person. All right. Big shout out to Oscar, second in the live chat on the podium, first Mary Beanie. I'm a big car person. So when I say big car, a lot of people you're going to see they're involved in the space. They know a lot about Formula One. They know a lot about this and have no experience at building cars. Matter of fact, probably no real experience at racing cars at any level. I mean, even from the hobbyist enthusiast level to the weekend warrior level to the semi to IMSA to none of those levels, right? So when it comes to these type of movies, I am really, really into them. And I'm really going to be critical of them to a degree because there's all kinds of ways to look at these movies as far as how critical do we need to be of them? What kind of mise en scènes are they bringing? Is it something that we really are going to be in tune with? Did they do a good job with the filmography? Did they do a good job with kind of adopting and taking care of the storyline? A lot of those things matter, especially when you're doing a movie of a legend that is as loved as Ayrton Senna. That is definitely going to be something that'll be criticized. And there is a way to do it because if you do these type of movies, okay, there's a way to go about these type of movies. You can try extremely hard to be as detailed, as close to the life story, as close to the characters, as involved as everything and all the nuances that went on, and you can screw yourself. Okay, you can screw yourself because sometimes when you go about trying to be that analytical, that detailed, you may not only rub people that were involved in that movie the wrong way, which is going to happen either way. And big shout out to Gabriel Leon. I think that's his name correctly. Gabriel Leon is who played Senna in this movie. And I think he did a fairly good job. I think he did a good job at it. Not even fairly. I think he did a good job at it. But as I was saying, you can do so much of that and then you screw the whole movie up. Because then people start comparing timeline like, oh, that's not right. That's not exactly right. So-and-so did this. And then there's another way to do it where you look at many documentaries that have been done. So much of the material that's already out, especially when we're talking about a real lifetime situation like Senna. And what you do in a movie is, you know what? We're going to take what is already well known. We're going to elaborate on it. We're going to create a mise en scène about it. We're going to spice it up with color. We're going to bring it back to life. We're going to bring it back to the forefront of viewers who knew Senna, viewers who watched Senna, spectators of the sport, and people that may not even be involved in the sport of Formula One. Don't even watch it. I think this is what that movie did. I think this movie did a very good job to the point where somebody may see this on Netflix and they may say to themselves, I might start watching Formula One, or I might start finding out more about Senna, or maybe I want to get my kid into racing because this production did a good job on many fronts. And I'm going to explain some of those fronts, all right? And Senna losing his life is not all about this movie. We already know Senna lost his life very tragically. We already know that it was such a toll on the Brazilian fan base, on the Brazilian, it was just such a toll on a culture of people as well as an enthusiast in motorsports of people. Big shout out Galactus, third on the podium for the live chat. J-Rob was happening. But I'm glad that they didn't purely focus on that. Okay, the way they brought that in was very respectful. It was very heartfelt felt in the movie. I wish they would have just made it a movie instead of a series, but the series thing is a big thing. I wish they would have just made it a movie, but it is a series. I think there's like 5 episodes, 4 episodes. Galacticus and I were talking about it, but they did a very good job on it. Now, this image right here of Niki Lauda is I think they did an awesome job tying in other drivers. Now, what I do wish is I wish they would have been able to acquire or get on contract the actor that played Niki Lauda in the movie Rush, which was really a movie based off Niki Lauda and James Hunt. All right. I wish they would have been able to get that same actor to also play Niki Lauda in here. I think that would have brought about more continuity as far as it's not something that has to be done, because I'm going to tell you right now, I hate Daniel Brühl and Chris Hemsworth, which plays Thor. I don't like when I see Marvel movies, right? I see Marvel movies, and when I'm watching Marvel movies, you got the same guy that played Captain America, plays Johnny Blaze. Now he's going to play another character in the same MCU universe, and it really screws it up. I don't think that actors that play a superhero or a hero character within the same confines of the product should play another superhero character. I think that absolutely kills the product, and it really brings about a lot of conflict. Series was better to show more than a movie. Yeah, but if it was... But then I guess if we look at I guess because you got more series, so you could do it over time and you don't have to confine it to 3 hours time frame and somebody just sits there. But inevitably, I would have just watched the movie in its entirety. We got 3-hour movies out here. I'm not sure. I forget about how long each episode is, because it was that good. A lot of times when a series is good, you don't pay attention to how long the episodes are. And another thing is, it might have been for streaming dollars as far as episodes per view per unit you put out, versus just having one view per that whole duration. You get multiple views for multiple episodes. I'm pretty sure there's a financial aspect in there as well. Big shout out to Paul. But I think that is something that would have been real nice. It's nothing against the movie. It would have been nice to have the actors from Rush, that especially Niki Lauda, played the actor played Niki Lauda here, which they had brought that in. They brought Michael Schumacher in, but they brought him in a way which is almost kind of relevant to what it is today. We don't see Michael Schumacher. I don't even know if Michael Schumacher is technically really alive, because the family is so airtight about him. They don't hardly ever talk. They never talk about. I can say never, because I haven't heard anybody really talk about him. I haven't heard Mick talk about him. I've heard about controversy between the families come out about, certain things coming out about Michael, but you just don't see him. And I technically wonder if the guy is still even really alive. And if he does die, are they going to let anybody know he's dead? It's kind of crazy to have somebody as important to the sport of Formula One. And then I know he had an unfortunate accident, but don't see him. Frank Williams had a very bad accident, and we still got to see him until his days of dying. I do understand that, and I respect the Schumacher family not trying to say anything pressing about what they need to do or what they should do. Not at all. It's just, it would be cool. But I do also understand, as a family member and a caring, loving family member, if your family member is not in the right mind and physical being to be out in public and be seen without it being a situation where people demean what they already have done, I can understand it fully if that is the case. So I'm going to put a poll up in the chat, and let me know if you've seen the Senna Netflix movie as of yet. But yeah, okay. So this right here was a very, let me find a better picture to bring in Alain Prost, because I'm going to tell you right now, if you didn't like Prost by seeing this, you definitely are not going to like him now. Okay. If you already thought Prost was a prick and he was an ass, a very sniveling snake type ass, you're going to think more about that then. If you never knew the guy, Galactus says 6 hours Oh, 6, 1 hour is so nobody. Yeah, okay. So thank you, brother. Thank you very much. So yeah, an hour per episode. That's 6 of them. That is 6 hours. Yeah, you're right. Nobody wants to. Nobody. I would have watched a 6 hour movie to be honest with you, but a lot of people wouldn't. So yeah, definitely per episode over 6 hour time. Watch it in 5 day period. Completely understandable. And like Alexa said, you get to tie in more in a strand of time. And they did just that. I think they used their episodes very well. I think they followed a very good timeline in the movie. Matter of fact, seeing that Senna had one of my childhood dream cars, which is a 64 Impala. They had a 63, which I've been looking at 63 Impalas because it's about time that I get one, was very cool. Plus, it was a two-door. But the other thing about Prost is if you didn't like them, you're not going to like them even more. And if you didn't know about them, you're probably not going to like them in here because it really brings out the prickness, especially between him and Jean, and what they did in the FIA as far as the biasness. And in this movie, if you watch Formula One to current date, it makes you feel as if the FIA are still the FIA. FIA are still doing FIA type BS things, still, especially knowing that Lewis Hamilton is a big Senna, is his role model. That's his role model within motorsports, okay? And knowing that Lewis Hamilton and what he's been through, because what Lewis Hamilton has been through is outside of dying, outside of the death, is far more challenging than what Senna went through. But you get a piece of what Senna went through as far as not being the golden boy, so called it. And he went through some of these challenges, even in karting, going up through to his Ford Formula days, then on into trying to get into Formula One. And they go into this situation. So yeah, you're not gonna like Prost if you don't already like him, and if you don't know him, you're likely not gonna like him off the rip, and rightfully so, because I don't like him either. I don't like what Prost did and what he went along with as far as the battle between he and Senna. He was more like a child teacher snitch. The like says Lewis Hamilton needs a series, maybe 8 episodes, 1 hour each. I'm telling you, I believe he's gonna have that. I believe Lewis Hamilton will have a series completely. You can't have, I'm gonna be honest with you, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. If Lewis Hamilton does not have a Netflix series or a movie about his life, just as Senna has, or more, it's gonna be crazy. Because how many Brazilians have we had in the sport of Formula One? We have them. How many black men in the sport of Formula One? How many black men successful in the sport of Formula One? How many black men the greatest driver to date in Formula One? Exactly. So yeah, if that doesn't happen, then that's criminal. It really is. And he shouldn't have to die in order for it to happen. And unfortunately, a lot of that happens not only with people that look like me, but artists. You know, artists do a lot of work and then they die, and then all of a sudden their art is flying off the list. Willie T. Ribbs actually has a movie. He's still alive. If you haven't watched the Willie T. movie, check it out. I watched it, and it's not really a movie. It's more of a docu-series, and it is good. It's called Uppity. But yeah, I've watched it, and I talk to Willie T probably about a weekly basis or every other week. He sends me pictures and videos, and we talking. You know, we talk through text. We talked on the phone ever since our episode. So Willie T, big shout out to him. Definitely a relationship that you honor having, and genuine. No BS. You know, like how you doing? How's the baby doing? How's the fam doing? How's Theo doing? What do y'all got going on? Is that type of situation. So it really is cool. And so yeah, Senna definitely in this movie, I can say the actor that plays him well. I think that another thing that they bring into this movie is the un the un unparalleled biasness of the British UK culture as far as having somebody like Senna involved in the sport of Formula One. So imagine, I mean, and that was just a small touch. Yeah, imagine what Lewis Hamilton went through. We already know called the N-word since he was 6 in the sport of Formula One. But yeah, he went through that as well, but nowhere near as hefty as what Lewis Hamilton went through. But still, He went through it, and they brought some of that also into this series, which was really, really cool. And then I would say that I would also say that this movie did a phenomenal job. And I do mean a phenomenal job. You hear drivers talk about it all the time, right? The hometown energy, the hometown additive to a driver performing better in a race. And a lot of times you hear that and you think to yourself, like, yo, I mean, how much better are you gonna perform just because you at home? They really embody that in this series, and you feel it when they go to Brazil and they bring in the culture and the colors and the flags and the murals and just the dancing, the excitement, the energy of them having a hometown hero at a GP in their country is felt while you're sitting on. If you don't have surround sound, you need to get it. If you at minimal get a sound bar with surround sound capability and turn that shit up, because I'm telling you, you feel it. It is like, yo, this is what that's like to have hundreds or thousands of people chanting your name, waving the flags, dancing through the streets, and then they bring in the FIA feeling all like, oh, I'm never gonna bring nothing here if this is what the Brazilians gonna act like. No, they act like that because you're a cheat. You cheated, Senna. You done a lot of faulty BS crap, and they're letting you know they know about it. They're not letting you skate on it. And that is really felt in this movie. Really, really felt in this. I'm going to call it a movie. I'm not going to keep correcting myself. It's the series. It's really felt in the series. And you really want to keep press and play on the next one. Press and play on the next one. They do a good job at bringing them in. They do a good job at the things in the middle. They do a good job at getting ready to bring you out and tie you into the next episode. So yeah, you want to keep clicking. It took me 3 days to watch all 6 episodes, and because I also make content. Had I not done that, I probably would have watched it all in one day. True. All right, because I watched about 3 episodes back to back. That's 3 hours. Well, it's in between me working and doing other stuff too, but that's 3 hours right there. So yeah, it really does do a phenomenal job at that. And another thing they did a great job at, and I say great, and I'm gonna tell you something. It was I didn't really make the connection as far as this when it was concerned, but this is Lewis Hamilton driving Senna's McLaren. And what I will say is this: it rained throughout that time. And when I was sitting there watching the series, I thought to myself, you know what? It may have not meant as much now making that connection, because it's something you already know, but you kind of, how you watch something and you be like, damn, you know what? That might have actually been better that it rained and that Lewis Hamilton drove Senna's car in the rain, because this series, this director did a phenomenal job at letting you know and understand how great Senna was regarded in the wet. How that set him aside from the rest of the grid. How he performed while his car malfunctioned and it was stuck in 6th gear. And he had to bring that home. How his body was aching and he had to muster it up. And they had to get him out of the car so he can hoist up this trophy. Seeing Lewis Hamilton now, knowing that situation, that he also drove that car in the wet, really ties it together. Really makes the memory and the experience with Lewis Hamilton all that much better. Even probably more for him than us. But I am telling you right now, they did a awesome job on so many fronts. Seeing Lewis Hamilton with Vivian Senna and knowing and seeing, they did an awesome job even tying in his love life. Because sometimes you can tie in love life and it's like, they just did too much, or you know what, they really could have left that out. They did a good job at not disrespecting Senna, that this is real life. I mean, how many partners have you had before you got married, right? How many, then you get divorced and you date again. They did a good job with Senna throughout that, with not bringing so much of the love life into where it takes over the film and then it's kind of like, he was a whore or he did this. None of that. It was like, this is just life of a driver, of anybody who's passionate as an athlete in a sport where you're dedicating so much of your mind, your body, your inner being, your talent, to try to be the very best. And it can kind of interrupt or intervene in a love life. But you find that you find a way to have that love life. Bringing in his family was cool. Bringing in, yo, and I'm gonna tell you something else. Something else that was really cool about this series is the way they tied in non-line having characters. There are characters in the movie that you see, they connect with them and they bring them in as their main actors, but they don't have lines really. But it does a good job in so much that they are tying in Senna's connection to the community, Senna's connection to the Brazilian people. And that was good how they did that. If you never, been to film school and know how to go, it's crazy. But yes, it is awesome that they did that because it brings in the connection more of the community and Senna's felt and Senna's appreciation and the respect for Senna and the regard for Senna. And it's beyond awesome. Like there are a lot of car films that have been made and they were trash. All right. They were trash. I'm going to tell you right now, Ferrari was okay. It was okay. Lamborghini versus Ferrari. Rush, one of the better movies. This is one of the better movies right now to date. All right, that we've had in a long time. Rush was a very good one. Ford versus Ferrari was another good one. Driven, trash. Gran Turismo, a good one. Okay, we're not going to get into like really fake ones. The Days of Thunder, that was pretty good for what it was and what it was about. Okay, the Ferrari movie was it was okay. It wasn't anything special to me. Okay, it wasn't anything special to me. We're gonna leave comedies out of this. So like Talladega Nights, although a good movie is a comedy. Schumacher on Netflix is I gotta watch that one. I haven't watched that one yet. But there are so many other car movies. You already know Fast and the Furious screwed theirs to hell. All right, there's a screwed to hell after the first one in probably Tokyo Drift was kind of, but it was probably one of the better ones. But there are so many other Gone in 60 Seconds, a good one. What's another one that was probably good, that was probably worth watching? And that's what I'm saying. It's like there's so many made, but there's so many that fall short of being a good movie. But those are some of the good ones. I'll even throw Speed Racer in there, even though it's really fictional, but it was a very well crafted movie and the way it was put together. So yeah, this was done very well. Now we already know what's supposed to come, right? We already know the movie that is on the horizon. They finished up supposedly filming as far as track days in Abu Dhabi, and that's Apex. Okay. I don't know what this one is going to be like. I do know I saw the trailer and I wasn't impressed. I do know I saw some of the screenplay and I wasn't impressed. With that being said, some directors, some producers, some projects purposely only do their best to release things that are kind of just like, okay, right? Because this is not really advertising yet. It's just kind of, it's coming, it's here, it's in the works. And we don't want to show you some of our best clips because we don't want you to go see the movie and be like, I already saw that clip. So Apex may very well be a bombshell when it finally drops. It may very well be a bombshell when it finally drops. But then again, it may not. And I think the other movie I'm thinking about was Lamborghini versus Ferrari. I think it might have been Lamborghini versus Ferrari. That movie itself was, it was okay. It wasn't all that. The Senna movie's better. Rush is the only movie I put in front of the Senna series because it's a movie, it's not a series, but I'm just saying as far as productions made, Rush is in front of it. I would say next would be the Senna series. Then, of course, Gone in 60 Seconds. Of course, Days of Thunder. Then you got, the Fast and Furious 1. I'm not really going for a lot of the other ones. And then I would say, of course, you get into some of the other movies, right? Apex needs to be edited just right to be good. And that's a very, very good point, Galactus. Apex needs to be edited right. It needs to, because let's be real. Like when I told you, when you start trying to bring in so many details, now they've been filming in the environment of Formula One events, like real time. Okay. So they should have the feel. Now it's up to them to really translate that feel to the audience watching the big screen, if it's going to be on big screen or watching their television. Next thing is, how do you make these drivers fit into the real drivers of Formula One? And then the other part is, you tie in real drivers. Did these real drivers do a good enough acting job to make it feel like they were part of the product versus just being, this person can't act and that's just them and they just reading the line? That can kill a movie. That can kill a movie. So you have to be very careful, and you have to be very mindful of the amount that you introduce real drivers into the production, so that it doesn't make it cheesy, because it can make it cheesy really fast in a hurry. Okay. You also have to be able to bring in the impact and the action and the pit stops and the sound of the guns and the sound of the tires and the sound of the engines and the wind. There's a lot of things that you need to bring in. And I'm wondering if the latest camera view, which is the gimbal camera that gives us a lot of motion and feel, I'm really wondering if not only was that there for us to be allowed to watch in the Formula One season, but are some of those footage going to find their way into the film? And was that camera introduced to Formula One because of footage the crew wanted? I wonder about that. When they introduced it, I started wondering about it. Like, I wonder if this kind of is going to be tied into the movie Apex, because it's a new camera view. Formula One, maybe they came up with it, but I don't know if solely they would have come up with it just on their own. But I'm wondering if those camera views going to be in there, because I actually enjoy that camera view on the gimbal, because it really gives you a nice visual feel of the banks and the turns and how the track really enacts its forces, or the forces enacted on the track can translate to the driver. So I think that's a good. If you haven't watched the Senna piece, definitely watch it. If you haven't watched Rush, definitely watch it. And if you haven't watched Ford versus Ferrari, definitely watch it. Those are top-notch movies, productions in my opinion. And I'm really waiting for Apex to come out and see how that is, and then I'll do a review on that one. So with that being said, we will, like I said, this is a very profound image, Lewis Hamilton driving Senna's car, and I know that had to be an awesome experience for him, especially carrying that Brazilian flag, as he does with his UK flag for his UK fans and spectators, and representing his home place of birth. But we will have F1 Minute tonight. That link is already posted. If you plan on coming on live as a caller and you want to be part of the content creation, that's what this is for. It's not for me to sit and talk a lot. If it's just for me to sit and talk, I'm going to go about the topics and I'm going to be right off, and then I'm going to go watch Monday Night Football. All right. So it will be 19:30 Eastern Standard Time tonight. Definitely check it out. And we will see you there. Galactus with the super chats are going toward the next prize giveaway that will happen in the off season. And like I said, big shout out to Delta Zero Productions for the shirt. They looked out. Nice shirt. Fits well. I like it. And I will be getting the Butterfly Racing shirts in. So, yes, 083, another winner over the weekend. Big shout out to you, sir. Maria Duncan in here. Dave Quattro in here. Condu in here. Big shout out for the fam checking in. Walter Shavers in here. Big shout out. He's seen you in a minute, brother. Hope you will. So, yeah, check out the series. It's on Netflix now. I'm going to wait for Apex to come out and see how that goes. And without that being said, we will get ready for F1 Minute tonight. That's me, Jay from Wolfpack Performance. I am out of here. Peace.